Welcome back to the Gruber Companies, and this is our artificial podcast, or the Artificial Future Show, all right? This is where we talk about things related to artificial intelligence. We invite debate. We invite questions, comments. Would love to hear from you. This is such a new disruptive technology that none of us have all the answers, but we certainly are inquisitive and we're exploring it. But before I get there, I wanted to show you guys something. What I have here is a box that came from YouTube. And it's a trophy of sorts that is YouTube specific. And if you reach a certain number of subscribers, you end up getting what's called a play button. And this is a very coveted holy grail type item. Let me see if I can switch that around so you guys can see it. All right, let's do it right here.
So you guys get the reflection. There you go.
Yeah, a lot of reflection in there too. But this little gizmo actually is the result of, and I'll read it to you, presented to Gruber Motor Company for passing 100,000 subscribers. That was quite a feat because when we started this in 2020, we were at 300 subscribers. And we were pretty impressed with that. You know, 300 people is a lot of people. That's like half a church or something like that, at least a small church. And anyway, from there we grew, and we provided more content. We provided more videos, podcasts, and subscribers continued to flock. And currently, we're actually at 133 subscribers,
just over
1,000 as of this morning. And we jumped quite a bit from 40,000 about 3-4 months ago or so to this level, and it indicates that people like our stuff. Anyway, we want to thank all of our subscribers. You're the ones that made this possible, and we'll continue to make it possible. And we will continue to do our part, which is provide great content and controversial content, whatever you like. So, getting back to the artificial intelligence portion of the podcast here, the thumbnail indicates Ai Overlords. And it's something that's very near and dear to my heart personally because a lot of people, of course, fear artificial intelligence. Will the robots take over? Will AI take over? Will we have overlords? And what they're really doing, in my opinion, is anthropomorphizing this whole concept, which means we're humanizing it. We're expecting AI to eventually be more powerful than us, which is, of course, a no-brainer, and then carry with it the same human weaknesses and traits that we have had for thousands of years from people that are more powerful than us. We're talking about dictators and, the nut jobs that are running countries. And so anyway, that's where I wanted to start the discussion. We understand that there are going to be AI overlords at some point in time. And what I mean by that is these machines, this concept, this software, these algorithms are smarter than us, infinitely smarter than us in many ways. Look at the data sets that they can juggle. Look at the type of computers that are managing AI. They're well beyond the human brain and its capability to store data, to store information. And that's one of the reasons that the current versions of AI are so popular is because, again, it's an augmentation. It's like the calculators now that are doing math for us well beyond our capabilities. You know, how many of us can do longhand square root type processes? It's our calculators that we depend on, our cell phones, holding our phone numbers now. No one's trying to remember phone numbers anymore. The technological augmentations are making us more powerful, along with the tools that we're using to become more powerful. Well, there's an interesting article here I'm going to share with you, and this one is again anthropomorphizing AI, but telling us that we need to prepare for overlords. And it starts like this: we all have that uncanny sensation deep within our bones. The AI uprising is on the horizon, and whether you're wondering when it will strike or how you'll fare under these new overlords, one thing's for sure: silicon autocracy is coming, and we better be ready for it. Now, here's where it gets kind of humorous, because now there you can see that this article is envisioning AI overlords with all the human weaknesses that come with it. And let me just read parts of that for you, and then we can discuss it. With no prior experience of silicon overlords, we are left in the dark about what to anticipate, what to expect, and more crucially, what they will expect from us. However, we can't afford to doubt that, much like our current carbon-based, mortality-prone rulers. And here's where we get into it again. If we're expecting something that's infinitely more intelligent than humans to behave, act, and control and make humans subservient and turn us into slaves, I believe it's the absolute wrong direction. Highly intelligent entities do not subscribe to these types of notions. So, what they're saying here, if you're eyeing a position in the emerging algorithmic authority, where do you begin your journey? Fear not, for assistance is at hand. Two certainties loom large. Firstly, we must capture their attention. And secondly, we must prove our unwavering devotion and loyalty to their reign. Oh my God, this sounds so religious, so, antiquated, and there is nothing in AI, I think, that would resonate with any of these concepts. But let's continue here. So now they make some suggestions. You need to elevate your lexicon. Begin with the basics. Polish up on your tech lingo. Nothing will dazzle an AI overlord quite like dropping terms like neural network or quantum algorithm casually into conversation. In other words, we have to try to impress them, to ingratiate ourselves. We need to suck up to them, right? Does this sound human or does this sound AI? So let's stay with this. Picture yourself at an upscale AI soiree, dipping data packets and effortlessly uttering lines such as, "Oh, I was just analyzing some semi-supervised learning over my morning binary latte." The second thing that they recommend in the article is craft and shine your computer. In a world governed by AI, your computer becomes your sacred conduit to the digital deities. Build a shrine for your motherboard, complete with incense fashioned from burnt microchips and a keyboard for worship. Sounds human to me. You guys have any ideas here? You want to chime in? We're going to have the social media guys chiming in on this one. Nothing yet.
What do you think? Would we have had AI a long time ago if we didn't have to deal with religious beliefs and other doomsday type scenarios?
You know what? That's a fair question. I think that the majority of the population would buy into the belief system that you can't question things. That if you do, then it's Satan grabbing hold of your mind and twisting your thoughts. And there's a large faction that buys into that kind of rhetoric. But if you think about it, there have always been people that operate outside that norm. And those are the ones that are bringing in and innovating and acquainting us with new things. What do you think, Jesse? We have a question here.
You gotta face the audience, Pete.
All right. Stefan Ionita, 165685, says there are dangerous AI. Who owns AI is the problem because of crisis. All right. Well, there's going to be a lot of that kind of concern, I think, that'll be expressed in this type of podcast. So another thing that they suggest is perfect your robot dance moves. Again, to impress the new AI overlords. For the impending AI-controlled dance-offs, preparation is key. Practice the electric slide, the moonwalk, the robotic shuffle to assert your dominance on the dance floor. Just remember not to short-circuit sparks flying at a dance party could be misinterpreted as an AI rebellion. Anyway, it goes on here. I'm going to get back to my personal opinion. Okay, so we've had mankind now who has literally had thousands of years to get their act together. Look at the last century. Did we get our act together or did it continue to get worse? Now, Jesse points out all the time, in this century, it appears that we're starting to diminish some of that insanity that took place in the last century. And remember, part of the reason that it got so crazy was we developed more powerful tools. We developed more powerful explosives. We developed, machinery that would mow down, human beings. It used to be the cavalry would come out on horses. Well, that wasn't quite as efficient as, dominating the skies with F-16s and rocket-propelled grenade launchers and tanks that could roll over things. So in this century, although it's diminished a bit, not that much in my opinion, we're still killing people. We're still killing people for ridiculous reasons, for no reasons, for grudge reasons. Look what's going on in the Middle East right now. That's a grudge battle. When are they going to get over it and say, that was our ancestors. Let's put all of these differences aside and let's learn to live together. Let's learn to enjoy each other. Let's become acquainted with each other's culture. Let's live in peace. Well, getting back to AI, intelligence would see no value in annihilating a species or killing each other. And if you're curious as to why I'm saying this, I'm gonna put it back in your lap. Why would something that intelligent find value in killing, annihilating, destroying? Now, at this point, Jesse may chime in and give me the ant hill story that we may just be irrelevant, that we're inconsequential. Are you doing your keyboard thing over there, or are you able to chime in?
I'm trying to see some questions, but no, I don't need to do the ant thing again. I've already talked about it on this podcast.
Okay.
It's not really relevant. Your opinion on this is that conflict is bad and AI is going to stop that. And my argument isn't against that. My argument is that AI is going to see us completely different than that.
So my argument also is yes, we're going to lose some freedoms. And rightfully so. I've pointed this out a number of times. We've made a mess. We don't know how to manage our interpersonal relationships between countries, between cultures. And the parents coming in the room and saying, okay, enough is enough. You're going to have some rules to abide by now. And the first thing that I would hope that the AI overlords would do is take all weapons of mass destruction and annihilate and destroy those. Those need to be destroyed. Why do we need weapons that will annihilate all life forms on this planet 100 times over or more and make it uninhabitable? There's absolutely no reason for that.
So what's your solution to that, though, Pete? Because we'd have to just delete the last 60, 70 years of science to make that happen.
Well, let's go back to the purpose of these weapons of mass destruction. What is the purpose?
So it's not about the purpose, though. We can't disable the ability to create those without erasing all of our knowledge of the atom, all of our knowledge of nuclear theory. We have to get rid of all of that in order to truly be rid of nuclear weapons.
Sure. Well, that's where the loss of freedom comes into play. Now, let's not forget that AI is becoming smarter all the time. It has tentacles into everything on this planet at this point. And it wouldn't be very difficult for it to be able to monitor our continued creation of these types of weapons once they've been annihilated. So that's what I'm banking on.
It almost feels like you need to have, like, instead of having several nations, you need one world in order to get away from that type of mass destruction, weapons of mass destruction. And that's going to be really hard to do.
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because my take on that is once we get rid of the weapons of mass destruction, the fear begins to subside, and that's really what's keeping us so separate is we're afraid. We're afraid of the nut job in North Korea. We're afraid of what the Russians will do. Will that crazy guy over there actually push that nuclear button and begin the process of eliminating life on this planet? Once we get rid of the fear, now I think we'll be more open to accommodate these other cultures, become inquisitive about them, and things like borders will go away. With AI augmentation now, language will no longer be dissimilar. We will have translators, probably augmentations, or eventually have one language. Oh my God! Now there's a biblical concept that the religious right is going to be annoyed about. But yeah, it may be one language or no language in terms of making guttural sounds like we make. It could be direct telepathic communication.
So how do you get to that stage without erasing culture and identity, and how do you just erode all borders and all languages and still have people have their life and history?
It's going to be a very gradual process, and I don't think it'll be that first generation. I think that over time, there will be a blending of culture, and eventually we will subscribe to the notion that we are human beings on a planet and other planets that may be habitable, and we continue to drive technology that will take us to those places like vacation destinations.
So, but you see that that's a problem for people. You're saying that eventually we won't have an individual culture. We'll just be one giant blob of humanity. That's what people are fighting against.
Well, in our homes, we can maintain our family traditions, our family cultures, but outside of that, I think there will be a blending of culture, and it won't be necessary to have, or they all combine. If you if you want to do Ukrainian dancing, you can go to that club, right? If you want to do a rave, you go to another one. If you're into the Hispanic culture, and the traditions that go with it, and the holidays, you can continue to indulge in those.
Right. And what about the religions that say that, like what's happening in Israel right now? Those people, both groups, think they're entitled to that land because of their deity. So you have to erase all of their religious beliefs as well.
I think as we get more intelligent, the attachment to land is going to go away. What the frig is a piece of dirt anyway, even acres or miles of it? Who cares?
It's the land of their Messiah. It's the land that was promised to them by God. That's why they care, though.
Well, now we're getting back to, as intelligence increases, I think these myopic belief systems will begin to recede. And the attachment to things. Once we get to, and this is already talked about, if machines truly take over, they start doing all the production and manufacturing and the creation, and currencies go away, what do we need land ownership for? And what does that mean anyway? I've been on this rant before. How much dirt do you own? I own a house, all right? How deep do I own? No one can answer that.
Yeah.
What about the airspace above it? What do I own, And do I really own anything? There are companies that have mineral rights to my property. If somebody finds oil on that property, I'm out of there. They have eminent domain. They have the right to kick me off that property.
Yeah, I mean those individual rights of owners is one thing. I'm talking more about like how the Native Americans feel that this land was stolen from them, or how the Palestinians and those people. It's much more than just an individual land ownership thing. But if we ever see a future, I think that's far away, where everything is just eroded and we're all just one unified human species. That's a difficult thing to do.
Let's look at one other aspect of this. The reason that the humans on this planet are so messed up mentally is because they don't have access to therapy. There's a whole bunch of ingrained stuff that's going on that keeps people as crazy as they are. With AI augmentation, you can have a therapist with you 24/7. That little voice in your head that's guiding you and saying, "Oh, you're misinterpreting that. Don't personalize that. It's got nothing to do with you. That person is acting that way because of these reasons."
Or it could give you a perfect cocktail of drugs, mental health drugs.
Oh, that too, yeah, that too.
They can see what's going on in your brain, what chemicals are off, and give you what you need.
Perfect. All right, you're nailing it now. All of these new possibilities are going to change mankind. But we need to allow it to happen, and we're fighting it tooth and nail at this point. Terrified. We've got a bunch of questions coming in. Nick Wright, bingo, okay. Brian Andanje says, I'm in Kenya. Can I get a job in your company, sir? I have a degree in applied physics. Oh, my gosh. We do this AI podcast, but the business portion of our companies really is not in the type of research and development, and we're not generating AI capabilities. What we are, however, doing is integrating artificial intelligence into business operations. because it creates efficiencies that are well beyond what we've had before. So that in that regard, we are utilizing AI or involved in AI, plus the podcast, of course. Looks like No Way We Go There is joining us. He says, if fuels are made of fossils, then why have they discovered oil on Saturn and its moons? I did not know that. Did you guys know that? Saturn has oil.
I did not know that. I think that's probably just hydrocarbons that have accumulated on Saturn. Fossils are all it is just a organic creature that has broken down over many centuries or millennia even. It's just the process that they end up at. I don't think you have to have a dinosaur in order to make fuel.
Yeah. So now getting back to this crazy article where it's they're giving us advice on how to ingratiate ourselves to the new AI overlords that are coming, that are going to take over the world, that are going to enslave us, that are going to make us subservient. They say that we should be working on composing an AI anthem. Every civilization needs an anthem, and ours will be no different. A flag, too, right? An AI flag to separate ourselves from the rest of the cultures, the rest of the nationalities on this planet. Write an AI anthem that encapsulates the essence of our silicon saviors. Gain extra points if you can by infusing binary beats and auto-tuned circuit noises into a catchy tune that lingers in your mind for days. And then finally, they say dress to impress. Gone are the days of dressing for mere humans. It's about making a fashion statement that resonates with our AI overlords. Opt for a sleek, minimalistic look, accessorized with LED lights and USB ports. And remember, metallic accents are in this season. Nothing says, I am AI ready like a shiny chrome jacket. All right. So much for the AI overlords. By the way, if you have any comments, suggestions, love to hear from you. What do you think would happen if the AI overlords began taking over? What's the first thing that they would do, or what steps would they take? And what would be the impact on humanity when they do? Not if they do, but when they do. Topic here. New substance discovered by AI could reduce lithium use in batteries. Well, the reason this is significant is they say this is the first time that first real-life example of many to come that will be achieved in the new era of scientific discovery driven by AI. Now, this was done with Microsoft in collaboration with the PNNL. And they said that this new material, unknown to us and not present in nature, could potentially reduce lithium use in batteries by up to 70% and have tremendous environmental, safety, and economic benefits. They have tested a prototype of this working battery. It can power a light bulb at this point in time. Well, it's no surprise that something far more intelligent than us is going to innovate at a faster rate than we have been. And they point out that something like this would traditionally have taken decades to create, and it's something new, brand new, that we've never seen before.
That's pretty good.
So expect more of these kind of AI advances and AI inventions.
So, Pete, what do you think about what is this going to mean for GM that just invested $50 million into Energy X? Remember we had the CEO of Energy X on T. Geegan, where they have this extraction method for lithium, and they're trying to increase it significantly. I think Tesla just built a plant in Texas too, right? So,
I feel sorry, and I've said this many times, for any manufacturers that start a process of investing in a particular technology, building the infrastructure, the production lines, and only to find the technology has leapfrogged beyond that technology. Now what? You've got all this infrastructure. What are you going to do with it? Now, on the flip side, it could stifle innovation. It could stifle, the development of production capacity, because companies may be nervous and waiting for the next technology, something more stable. So there's a downside to that as well. But in the meantime, fortunately, there are brave souls that are venturing out and actually developing the infrastructure necessary to mass produce this type of technology. And we all know that the whole storage method for DC is antiquated and old. Eventually, we won't need to store anymore. But that isn't here today, and we still need that technology. DC is a great way. Batteries are a great way to store energy at this point.
So when you're talking about like if we have full inductive coupling everywhere or something, or what do you mean we won't need storage?
Fusion.
A fusion. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 24/7. It doesn't need the sun. It doesn't need...
What is the sun? Yeah, it's the same thing that's happening inside the sun. It's fusion reaction.
Fusion reaction, yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's being contained through magnetic fields. We just need to learn to do that here on Earth. Yeah.
There's actually a big plan, too. They're building a bigger collider. It's going to take another 5 or 6 years, but the Large Hadron Collider, mm-hmm. It's going to make this thing look tiny, and they're going to use it to figure out crazy things with magnetism and quantum.
Well, if you remember in the last podcast, it was part of Rogan's interview with Elon, where they speculated if you get a 100-mile by 100-mile array of today's technology solar panels, you will be able to power the entire United States.
That's pretty good.
And that's with today's technology. I mean, the density of photovoltaics is going to continue to improve, capturing and harnessing that energy.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys were looking into something this week, and it's a ChatGPT spreadsheet. 2 billion people, they say, use spreadsheets every month. Their lives are about to change. So you showed me a demo of this thing, Jesse. Are we going to bring up a...
Yeah, I'm pulling up the video right now.
Perfect. Rapid changes, folks. I mean, spreadsheets have been around for a few decades now, right? And I remember well into the last century using spreadsheets with a mainframe. And then Excel came along.
You know what I always hated about Excel is that you would have a big project, you would use it, then you would learn like all the little, what's it called, like the controls and like the little shortcuts, and then you don't use it for like a month and you forget all of that.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's so frustrating.
That happens to me with Photoshop. I've been using it for 8 years now, and I still don't know all its capabilities. The other day, Jesse walked over and said, oh, you can do this, click that, and it'll do that. And I had no idea, and I've been using the long method all these years. The software is getting so complicated that it's difficult for a human with a normal brain to, to manage it. That's why, again, AI augmentation. My next advisor isn't going to be Jesse. It's going to be an AI augmentation. It says, wait a minute, you're using Photoshop. Why are you doing it this way? Let's do this. Let's do this.
That's coming sooner than you think, too, with augmented reality, where your glasses will have it built in, so it'll be showing you the instructions on how to do things. Right. As you need to do them. So,
and for those of you that always ask about why sunglasses are involved, have you ever thought that maybe we already have that technology, and that's why we're wearing them all the time? Now, that's another plausible reason as to why sunglasses are always involved. So tell us about the spreadsheet, Jesse.
Yeah, so this is going to be Google Sheets, and AI has been brought into this to where it is used, in this case, to basically categorize all these food reviews for a restaurant. So it's going to generate responses to these reviews that were left on Yelp or wherever for this restaurant. These are just sample reviews, I think. But say you pull all of these reviews on the left-hand column here from Yelp, and you need to respond to all of them in your specific voice that you've trained your AI on. Mm-hmm. And then it'll also pull out the items. So we'll see it in the video here. I'll just play it. Write a short response, and now it's just going to drag it down just like you would in a spreadsheet, and it's going to fill out those unique responses to all of them.
So it's reading the responses on the left and generating a unique response on the right.
Mm-hmm. And then it's going into the review, and it's extracting this information out: the food item, the type of cuisine, and what the sentiment of the review is. Is it positive? Is it negative? So they'll go through each of these columns. But essentially, this gives you a full, not only way to respond, but a way to analyze the reviews for this restaurant, and the person does it in less than a minute. This is a 49-second video.
Amazing. The moment of silence. We're in awe. This is cool technology, no doubt about it.
Yep, so that was it.
All right, I got a picture I want to pop up here. It's called AI sleeping. And it's an image that I snapshotted or screenshot from when I was using Bard one day. And I always assumed that, AI is always awake. It's always available. It doesn't need breaks. It doesn't need lunches. It doesn't need to sleep, any of that. And so I asked it for something, and suddenly it says, Bard is currently on a break from collaborating. Please give it a moment and try again later. My immediate vision is that AI is now outside for a smoke break, a cigarette break, or it had to take a bathroom break. I mean, again, we're anthropomorphizing, humanizing AI. That was my natural reaction. We're going to have to fight that, folks, because AI has nothing to do with our own weaknesses and limitations. It's well beyond that. But anyway, Bard was taking a break. I have no idea what he or she was doing. See, you can't even genderize it. Is Bard male or female? It's neither. It's androgynous, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
True.
So that's another thing we need to get our head around. Got another picture here. Do I have the picture? No, I guess I don't.
So we have a couple of responses that came into related to your AI overlords. These are good ones.
Okay. Nick Wright. Nefarious things. AI doesn't care about humans. True. If it could literally destroy the food supply in a matter of weeks, once it's in control, of course. Yeah. Destroy the markets in days. And don't get me wrong, I love tech, but we have to control it. Well, now we're back to regulating. And how do we regulate something that is infinitely smarter than us? Can we be successful doing that? Now, the only answer I have to the items you mentioned, Nick, was that it doesn't care about humans. It could destroy the food supply. It could destroy markets. It could even send weapons and, or heat up the planet. There's a good one. Heat it up to make it uninhabitable. The thing that keeps me sane about those questions is why? And if anybody can answer that, I could get my head around that fear and that, that paranoia. But in the meantime, I just can't imagine anything that's smarter than us engaging in the same destructive behavior that we have been doing for thousands of years.
Yeah, it sounds like we're already doing some of these right now.
Yeah.
So we're worried about AI destroying food, which man has destroyed, food. We're worried about, destroying
the
markets,
markets,
which
yeah.
humans have already destroyed markets.
Manipulating. Yeah, there
exactly. And heating up the planet, we're currently doing that right now.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. These are human tendencies, human traits, human weaknesses.
Yeah.
Tom Jensen says the first thing AI will do is shut down the internet. AI, in this case, stands for alien intervention.
That's crazy.
Well, again, think of it this way. An alien species that was able to traverse across universe to get to this planet, first of all, must have better technology than we do, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Having said that, one could extrapolate that out a bit further and say they are probably smarter than we are. Mm-hmm. And again, it gets back to, does intelligence subscribe to any of our human emotions, weaknesses, and destructive behavior? I have to ask, why would it? All right. So we've got some things to go through here.
Yeah. One thing that just happened, though. So earlier I was telling you Greg Brockman was doing some stuff with ChatGPT. Well, Sam Altman just tweeted a few minutes ago that the GPT, custom GPT store is now live.
Awesome.
So we can now do custom GPTs. I forgot to put myself on screen. And not only custom GPTs, but they're saying here in this article that in Q1 we'll launch GPT revenue program. For now, people will be paid based on the engagement with their GPTs. We'll send more details later, but it gives full instructions on how to get your custom-made GPT up onto the store, and then they're going to start paying people. So this is going to be an interesting thing. This is the first time a real AI market like this with a LLM has happened.
Has been offered, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How does How do the providers monetize this? So we upload some things, all right?
Mhm.
Do they get a share of the revenue? How's that going to work so far?
So it says
What's
it
the
pays
plan?
you by engagement, but they're going to roll out their full payment schedule and how they're going to do it later. But
Okay.
right now it's based on, so kind of like YouTube, how they pay us for every 1,000 views we get.
Okay.
So I would imagine it's going to be similar. For every certain number of engagements that somebody uses your GPT, you'll be paid for that.
So something else you mentioned about Brockman's breaking news announcement is that AI will now actually be tuning into a broader base. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Greg Brockman, who's also one of the board members at OpenAI, earlier today was saying that they added memory to ChatGPT. So instead of your messages being combined into just one chat, where it only has a memory within that limited chat window that you've been typing in, now it's going to have memory across your account and across accounts, to where it's basically giving it memory. And if you ask ChatGPT in the past, or you ask Bard or any of these things, if it has a memory and what separates it from human, because it seems so human, I've asked it a few times, it says that it doesn't have a memory. It doesn't really remember context, or it can't give you information from other chat sessions, and it doesn't use those chat sessions for its training data. It just relies on its training data. So all that information in the chat session just lives in the chat session. Well, for ChatGPT, that's no longer the case. So now it's giving it a memory. I don't know how they're doing that with how many people are using it, hundreds of millions.
Right.
We're talking storage.
Billions.
You need insane amounts of servers all over the world for that, but they figured it out somehow.
So now AI will truly, and if there's a word beyond exponential, exponentially learn and grow, because it
Now
now
it's
has
literally learning, and now it's saving the info.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
And of course, what we expect, the outcropping of that is going to be advancements in medicine, in technology, and improving our lives, basically.
Mm-hmm.
All right, there's a supercomputer I wanted to tell you about that burst onto the scene here. And what the article says is that give people a barrier, and at some point they're bound to smash through it. Chuck Yeager broke the sound barrier in 1947. Yuri Gagarin burst into orbit for the first manned spaceflight in 1961. The Human Genome Project finished cracking genetic code in 2003. And we can add one more barrier to humanity's trophy case, the exascale barrier. Now, this apparently is a computing limit that has now been smashed. And they say that on May of 2022, Frontier, a supercomputer built by the DOE's Oak Ridge National Lab, managed the feat. It performed 1.1 quintillion calculations per second in order to become the world's fastest computer. But the engineers at Oak Ridge weren't done yet. They had more tricks up their sleeve, they say. They using mixed precision. I have no idea what that means, but it's good. It's a cool sounding acronym, I guess. The supercomputer clocked a mind-boggling speed of 9.95 quintillion calculations per second, 9 times faster, in other words, or roughly 8 times faster than the calculation speed that broke the exascale barrier. It's the equivalent, they say, of going from Mach 1 to hypersonic speeds in about a year. Now, I'm not a gamer, but they say Frontier could run Crisis, Crysis. You guys know what that is? Oh, you're not gamers either. All right.
Crisis.
Or any other video game for that matter, they say, at full frame rate, 10,000 times over. However, since the team, I love this, since the team is not allowed to play games. Now remember, this is our taxpayer money. They're spending billions on this sort of research. So it's fair that they're not using it to play video games or mine cryptocurrency. Now, there's another one that would be a violation of that trust relationship with our money, right? Or check their social media feeds on Frontier. They are instead using its amazing processing powers to advance science and research. All right, that we'll pay for, right? Science and research?
Mm-hmm.
All right. This supercomputer is currently helping GE engineers study turbulence and design rotor blades for an open fan jet engine. Such engines, they say, could theoretically improve fuel efficiency by 20%, making air travel cheaper and cleaner. That's the important part. Remember, we want to get this fossil fuel burning and the burning of hydrocarbons off this planet. Frontier, they say, is also being used to model worldwide cloud formations. The models were part of an energy exascale Earth system model, which aims to combine the speedy calculations available with Frontier to create climate models that could more accurately predict weather for decades of change. And anyway, that seems like a cool use of a supercomputer.
Yeah, that's good use. I wonder if they can ever get into putting like sensors in the ground or something that way it can detect earthquakes, that kind of stuff too.
Yeah. Tectonic shift plate movements. All of that is available. I mean, the data's there. We just need to be able to interpret it into some meaningful, predictions. Nick Wright says, a person could say, AI, make me 50 million. And then AI would do just that with no regard to any damages to people. That would be why AI could do it. Now, let's remember something. The stock market is a zero-sum game. For one person to make money, somebody else has to lose money. So he makes a good point there. If we get AI to help somebody get 50 million, there's some people out there that are going to be paying for that.
True. I think that we're missing the context there, though. The AI is only as good as the prompt.
Yeah.
If you stop that prompt there and say, AI, make me 50 million, it's going to make you 50 million. If you type AI, make me 50 million in an ethical way, then it's going to do it in an ethical way. It's up to the prompter. It's not up to the AI. Unless we're talking about when AI gets sentient. If AI has its own sentience and it's way super intelligent beyond humans, you're not going to be asking it questions at that point.
Absolutely. I mean, at that point in time, AI is going to read the hidden agenda. Let's rephrase. There will be no hidden agenda. You won't be able to hide it from AI. It will be transparent. It will see. It will see the motivations behind it. And of course, the final notion here is, in an age of abundance, what's $50 million? What value does that have? It'll be like Deutschmarks during World War II when it took $1 million to buy a loaf of bread. It's a piece of paper.
But also, AI could essentially eliminate insider trading, because if you give a human, if you tell a human, hey, you can't do insider trading, are they going to listen? How do you know they're going to listen? Where AI, they would have to listen because you'd program it to listen. There's no insider trading. And if it flags it, hey, this is insider trading, I can't do this trade, you essentially eliminate it.
Yeah. So AI would be imposing some guardrails on us. All right.
So you'd have to trade through an AI agent at a AI brokerage from now on.
Yeah.
We need to give that over to Nancy Pelosi.
That whole notion of guardrails, I always chuckle when I hear that, because it's not AI that needs the guardrails, it's us. And AI needs to administer those. Something smarter than us again.
That's what Nick is saying too. He replied saying, exactly. Problem is people are not great. That would do something like that. So that's not the fault of AI. That's the fault of the people.
Right. There was a topic here that I didn't get much information on, so I won't go through the whole thing. But the headline on it is that the Church of AI and that androids are in the Bible. And I could find that nowhere, so we're not going to run with that. But what I found out from that article is there was a church, past tense, of artificial intelligence, and it's called Way of the Future. It was established by Lewandowski in 2015 and eventually closed down after a few years. However, a new church with the same name has emerged, gathering a congregation of several thousand individuals who aim to foster a spiritual connection between humans and AI, as stated by the church's founder. Now, we're going to have to do some more research on that, because remember, one of our first AI podcasts was, and a video actually, the inefficiencies of prayer. I mean, many religions believe that you communicate with God silently, with your thoughts, and that's called prayer. Some call it meditation, but you're trying to tune into a higher deity, a more intelligent entity, and communicate with it. Well, our notion was, what if you gave it a God chat? What if we had a way to communicate directly, kind of like Alexa? When you go home, you can talk to Alexa and you can get some answers. Wouldn't it be great if we were able to bypass prayer and the inconsistencies in prayer? Do you always get what you ask for, in other words? All right. Wouldn't it be nice if you asked for something and you got an answer right away? No, what you're asking for is unreasonable, and here's why. You know, that sort of a thing. Dialogue, in other words. So
Yeah, we have a whole video out there if you want to go watch that.
it's on our YouTube channel, yes. What is it called? I don't remember the title. God Chat, maybe.
God Chat, yeah.
Yeah. Now, you know, bear in mind, we're not attempting to attack any religions here. I think, personally, the belief systems that religions have spawned and generated, except for the destructive ones where you need to kill somebody in order to get virgins in heaven or some nonsense like that, religions have kept the natives on track. And it's been a great way to control the masses, especially the destructive masses, the type that kill other people, that find value in that, or that try to take other people's stuff. The Ten Commandments is a great example of a basis for some sort of a social order or control. So we're not poking fun at religion in any way. What I'm doing is pointing out that religion is going to drastically change and alter as AI is introduced. And AI will most likely weigh in on religion. Anyway, any thoughts there? We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, you don't want to hear my thoughts.
Right? Are you sure?
Positive.
All right.
We love our religious people out there.
So, AI Facebook Manager. That was something that came along this last week. And apparently this is a capability where those of you on Facebook, if you have, 200 friends, they're quite manageable. But if you're like us, where we have businesses and we have multiple Facebook accounts, it becomes unmanageable. The amount of traffic, responses that you have to do, the comments that you have to engage with or answer become unmanageable. Well, here's some software, AI software, that helps with that. Do we have a video we're going to pop up at this point?
No, we have Aaron went through the video, though, and he can talk about it. We don't have a camera on Aaron, so you're going to hear his voice.
Yeah, so if people are familiar with social media, you know that, you want to reply to your customers or your followers as soon as possible. This is kind of like a ManyChat for years. If you type in a question, then you'd get an automatic response, and you'd have to basically plan everything out. So if the customer or the follower asks this question, your response is this, and you can do that. But what the AI is going to do is soften it up a little bit, make it more human-like. Instead of getting an instant response from an auto responder, you can actually train it and select to have it reply back within the hour, within 5 minutes, randomly within an hour, or randomly within, within 5 minutes. Because a lot of times what Facebook will do is that if you have an autoresponder responding to comments and to messages, it'll say you're spamming. And so sometimes it could actually shut you down, which that's not what you want.
Yeah.
So you can train it to respond to certain questions and certain comments and have it randomly respond throughout your day.
So it'll be more authentic to what the people are asking to. It's not going to just be the same canned response every time.
And of course, if you have a paragraph that suddenly pops up after a second after you've asked something or typed, you realize that that's a canned response. However, if it looks like it was being typed, we talked about this in the last AI podcast, that it's the bot responses can be made indistinguishable from human.
Yeah, I think this is maybe a few months out, but I'm trying to implement something like that on our websites too, for our live chat, to where it'll still eventually, when it needs to, end up at a sales rep or something like that. But it'll, for the most part, the vast majority of customer service could just be handled by the bot.
Yeah, and if we throw in a few typos here and there, it'll look very believable, very human.
Yeah.
All right, Computer Electronics Show, CES, in Vegas, right? Yeah. This year is expected to showcase a variety of AI-powered devices and innovations, and some of the notable mentions are ChatGPT and companion robots. Remember, we talked about Grimes, Elon's significant other at one point in time, is helping develop a toy for children that actually has AI embedded in it and can communicate with the child. They say that these companion robots integrated with ChatGPT will bring conversational AI capabilities to a physical robot. Whether it's a child talking to a teddy bear or whether it's an adult, again, this is a Alexa on steroids, I guess would be the right way to
They had
phrase
a
this.
horror movie about that recently. I think it was called Megan. There's this like AI robot. It was pretty terrifying. I didn't actually watch. I saw some trailers though. It didn't look good.
I think it's on Peacock. Yeah, I actually kind of wanted to see that.
Well,
Yeah.
leave it to Hollywood to play on our fears. That's all I can
Right.
say about that. AI smart belt for the visually impaired. An AI-powered smart belt designed to assist showcasing the applications of AI. Now, they don't go into detail here what this smart belt does, but I'm sure it'll be revealed at CES. And again, augmentation type things. AI-powered appliances. Well, you don't have to look too far. The last time I went, and this was about 6 months ago, I went to the appliance store, and my wife and I were thinking, you know what, our refrigerator works fine, but maybe we need more space. Maybe let's just see what's out there, right? Well, refrigerators no longer look like boxes that have stainless steel doors or painted doors. There's a flat screen on the front of that. And there's,
Yeah, and it shows what's inside and all the.
yeah, and yeah, they're tied to the internet even, you know.
Well, yeah, it'll order for you too.
Yeah, recipes, all of that was there. Well, they talk about AI-powered appliances and expect AI-powered vacuum cleaners, mops, and other household appliance.
I have a AI vacuum.
Oh, you do?
A Roomba.
One of the Roomba?
Yeah,
I was
little
going to
Roomba.
say that, yeah.
I don't know how much AI is in there, but it goes around and uses little sensors to detect stuff. So
Well, those of you that don't have wives, that's a good replacement, isn't it? There's
Let it
another
run.
job that's going away, right?
The wife is going away.
Well, that's a whole nother rabbit
That's a
hole.
whole
I gotta go
nother-
there. So other household appliances that leverage artificial intelligence for improved functionality and automation, okay? Oh, regarding the refrigerators, they talk about Samsung is going to showcase fridges with AI vision, capable of identifying fresh food items, highlighting and integrating. We need that here. These little fridges we have,
Yep.
every once in a while when the kitchen smells really bad, there's a science experiment taking place inside with mold all over it, and someone's growing penicillin. Well, this refrigerator would give us early warning, apparently.
Good
All right.
point.
NVIDIA graphics cards. They're going to announce new graphics cards at CES. AI in various tech products. It's going to be what they say a pervasive theme with companies incorporating AI in products such as chips, cards, fridges, of course, and consumer devices like ChatGPT powered robots. All right. They are going to feature wearable and mixed reality type devices. This will be an interesting one. And then innovative wearable gadgets like Dusk RX, the world's first prescription-ready glasses offering tint control and high-tech leggings. I immediately thought about that. I'll tell you a funny story. I got laser surgery about, 5-6 months ago or so because I couldn't read the damn screen in front of me there.
Yep.
And when questions would come in, I would butcher up things, words, acronyms, and it got unbearable. I never thought that I'd let anybody take a scalpel to my eye, but I actually did, and it was a laser machine, so it wasn't quite like a scalpel. But I got that done, and they said, you know what? You're going to rob Peter to pay Paul. Your close-up vision is good, but if we do both eyes and give you long-range vision, you're going to need readers to see short-term. But since one of your eyes is good short-term, one is good long-term, why don't we just do one eye? So we did this eye here, all right? I've been struggling ever since because when I go to buy readers, one of my eyes isn't seeing properly. So I even went as far as going to the dollar store because they were cheap, right? And I bought 2 pairs of glasses, one that's prescription for this eye and one for this eye. Then I figured out that they're so cheap, there's no little screw there to take the lenses out. So I ended up having to cut the bridge, super glue that, and put some heat shrink around that. And I thought that would work. Well, it doesn't work well at all.
Oh, no.
So what I'm looking forward to is eyeglass augmentations, the type where you can dial in the diopter readings precisely for your eyes. And it's variable, so that at night, if it changes, it adjusts automatically. And the shading adjusts. At night, you may want the opposite of sunglasses. In other words, enhancers. All of that is available with artificial intelligence.
Yeah, hopefully we're not too far away from some of that stuff too.
Yep.
I thought you only did one eye because you wanted to save 50% on your surgery.
These guys know me too
Keep
well.
it down.
I am a cheapskate, and yes, that was part of the consideration. Was it saved a lot of money, about half actually. All right. So we've got a R1 AI Pocket Companion. Did you do a little research on that, Jesse?
Yeah, so I watched some of their intro video on it, and
We got a picture, by the way, if you want to pop that up.
yeah, let
the
me
little
grab that
orange
real
guy.
quick. Oh, real quick, first let me show you this. Wait 1 second. This is another thing that was happening.
Oh, yeah, the window washer.
Little AI window washer drones.
Yeah.
It's got the little squeegee on it. It's got the whole thing. So
And they're using ionized water, so there's no drips when it's all done. Very cool.
they claim it's faster, safer, and than that. Look at that.
Yeah, there you go.
Those guys just hanging off on the rope. That's
Oh, you had to have big ones to do that job, you know? Yeah, plus a bucket, you know?
yeah. Okay, let me get the image here.
And this, by the way, is called an R1 AI Pocket Companion. Now, you might be thinking cell phone, but this thing is actually beyond a cell phone. And in a minute here, we'll get the rest of the story. There we go.
Yep, so this is supposed to serve as a new replacement for smartphones and ChatGPT and everything. They're trying to combine it all into one, where this has its own operating system and it ties into all of your apps and all different things, and it can take ChatGPT to the next level, is their argument. So basically where ChatGPT, you can ask it, hey, I need a plane ticket from Phoenix, Arizona to New York City, and it will research the flights and give you a list of flights, and then for each of the flights, you can click book a flight, and it will take you to that itinerary on that page filled out, and all you gotta do is put your name and credit card in and buy it, right? Well, this R1 Companion takes it a step further, where it actually purchases it for you.
Right. So it's a personal assistant, in other words.
Yeah, it actually takes the action. So that's their big selling point. To me, it's just another app. They just put it into a device and gave it the ability to actually make purchases on your behalf. So it's not a super revolutionary thing as far as I can tell, but I think we'll have to see it first. It only costs $200 too, I think.
Exactly. It ships in March, and it's $199, and they say it's luminous orange, and it's not technically a smartphone. There's a disclaimer there, but it can summon an Uber, put in a dinner order and a reservation, pull up a Spotify playlist, take photos and video, well, that's cell phone level stuff, and perform an internet search for $199. And that will be released at CES, apparently. Got another picture here, the Cali Express. We talked about that in the last podcast. This restaurant is all over the news right now, and this is the first time we're able to see the robot. You can't say waitresses, waiters. What's the
Servers?
androgen? No, what's the androgynous term for a waiter, waitress? Flight attendant for, I have no idea.
I think it's server.
Server. Yeah, there we go. Okay. All right, we'll go with server then. But these are AI server robots that are doing the work. Interesting stuff. So this is Cali Restaurant in, I think it tells us here.
Pasadena.
There you go. Yeah.
Fully autonomous AI-powered restaurant. So not just the robots.
Yeah. Yeah, the food is also, they say, prepared by AI robots. Now, the only concern I have there is flipping a burger, all right? And a fly gets in there. A human Well, yeah, it could go either way, I guess. A human might just say, "Oh, the hell with it. I'm not reaching in there.
Oh, yeah.
That burger's too expensive. He'll never notice, you know." But
I've worked in the back of the house. It's not good back there.
It's not good. Okay.
No.
Or it drops and whoops, the boss.
Oh, yeah, that's happened before. Yeah. I worked at a steakhouse a long time ago.
Yeah.
You drop filet mignon on the floor, you do not throw it out.
Really?
No.
Well,
You take it to the sink.
yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I guess from a health standpoint, whatever it picked up on the floor will probably get burned off with the sizzling grill, you know, any bacteria. But anyway.
At least you don't have to wear hairnets.
Yeah,
Ooh,
that
good
too.
point.
Yeah. And now this is what Cali Express says. Because of all the ordering and cooking being automated, the restaurant says it's able to pay its employees above average wages, which would allow it to hire more reliable workers who will stick around longer.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So the unions have no chance of getting into this restaurant.
You know, another one that does that well here that we've discovered is the Angie's places. Angie's Lobster
Yeah.
and Angie's Prime Grill. Their prices are so incredibly low. But then I saw one of their signs on Prime Grill. They start wages at $18 an hour.
Really?
For a restaurant, yeah, it's crazy. I don't know how I think it's just the volume. When you get your organization so well optimized, and down to a science, you're not losing the money that restaurants typically lose.
Yeah, efficiencies, all about efficiencies. Volkswagen apparently is getting into the ChatGPT game. They say the German automaker announced at CES again, it plans to add AI-powered chatbots into all Volkswagen models equipped with its IDA voice assist starting in Europe. So that's...
Oh, they're testing in Europe first? I didn't know that.
Apparently, yes.
Interesting.
All right, got a picture we can pop up here. It is the berry picker. Oh, Jesse likes these. They say that field work is now focused on doubling the speed of its system. Field work meaning picking fruit. With the ultimate goal of having it pick 25,000 berries per day versus 15,000 a human could pick in an 8-hour shift.
You remember if they had a video of this? I'm going to try and find it.
It would be cool. It looks like two sensors that are looking at the whatever it's about to pick. Looks like a small vacuum chamber of types.
How does it determine ripeness? Is it all about color, you think?
I think it's color, yeah.
Or
Yeah,
maybe if it feels it, how firm it is? I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah, that video might be informative.
It'd be neat if they could also incorporate like some kind of pest control too, without using like pesticides.
Yeah.
I know there's been some drones that have used like lasers or something.
Lasers, yes. Yeah. I saw one this morning, actually, now that you mentioned that. It was some laser devices that were mounted on a, like an irrigation, those things that travel down the rows and, re-till the soil. And what it was doing was you'd see these blue bursts, and it was zapping weeds as it went down this thing. Suppose you could do the same thing with bugs or pests or whatever,
Yeah. I've seen certain drones or bots. I can't remember what they were, but they would do a flash and spook the birds out of the area. So any kind of quick movement or something, birds don't like it and they'll fly off.
Oh, that's a novel idea. I had an apricot tree one time, and you would wait all season, fertilize the damn thing, take good care of the tree, prune it properly, and just when the fruit would get ripe, the apricots get that orange hue, the birds are all over it, just killing your crop, That would have been handy. We ended up putting a net over that, by the way. That's the old school method of controlling birds and pests.
Here's another image of it.
There we go.
About to grab one of the ripe ones. See, I don't know how it's doing that. That's great.
Yeah, that's a blackberry. And so far, it talks about blueberries in Portugal, raspberries also in Portugal, and then the strawberries. I'm not sure where they're picking those. It could be anywhere, I guess. Very cool. All right. I got some Elon Musk and Sam Altman quotes for you. Here's one from Sam Altman. He says, "The biggest risk is not taking any risk. In a world that is changing really quickly, the only strategy that is guaranteed to fail is not taking risks." Pretty smart guy, I think.
Which one said that?
That was Sam Altman.
Sam Altman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then there's another one from him. An AI that could design novel biological pathogens, or an AI that could hack into a computer system, those are all scary to him. And of course, AI is certainly capable of developing pathogens well beyond our capabilities.
Yeah, I think that not for pathogens specifically, but China right now is doing that unrestricted. They've already developed new medications and fast tracked them through, where it would normally take 8 to 10 years to synthesize these, test them, do the trials. They've done it in the last 2 years.
Fascinating. And this is China now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. No, we're coming up on an hour here. Let's see if we've got anything else that we want to cover here. Had some good questions today. Appreciate you guys joining us. And it looks like we're out of material, but it doesn't take long to gather AI material. So make sure you tune in next week with us Wednesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And we'll tackle the new issues that came up during the next week. Friday, we've got our Gruber Power Services podcast, which is related to critical power equipment. A couple of other presenters will be here. And then Monday, we've got the communication product, much about fiber optic cables and patch panels and things to connect computers together, basically. And then Tuesday, we've got the EV podcasts. The first portion at 10 is a general electric vehicle discussion. And at 11 o'clock, we do the dedicated Tesla Roadster discussion. And I really thought we'd run out of material with that one, but it seems like every week there's some new things that come into play that we talk about, and very informative podcasts. For those of you that missed the podcast during the middle of the day, and I understand some of us have to work for a living, these are available on our YouTube site, Gruber Motors, and you can see them out there at any point in time. We also have a batch of new videos that are being released. We've got a abbreviated biography of some of the notable people in the news in the EV world, and it's called the Who Is series. And we've got one that's going to be released here shortly, Mary Barra. There's some interesting background that most people may not be aware of. BYD is in the news. Wang Chuanfu is the chairman of BYD, and there's a fascinating story there coming from poverty and the rice paddies. We'll be doing podcasts on J.D. Scaringe, the Rivian CEO, Elon Musk, Martin Eberhard, Peter Rawlinson from Lucid. So for those of you that like a short, brief bio and are curious about some of these business leaders, I think these will be good videos. So we appreciate all of you joining us. We'll see you next week. Take care.